Let's continue reading and exploring the question, why did people leave their homeland and choose to explore North America? As we read, we'll make notes of positive and negative impacts of exploration. Let's start reading on page 63. You can follow along in your book with me. More Spanish explorers. So from that heading, I'm thinking that we are going to be learning about other Spanish explorers. Another Spanish explorer, Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, wanted to gain riches by searching for treasures in the Americas. So why did he want to come to the Americas? You've got it, for riches. He had experience as a leader in Mexico, and while there he heard rumors of a rich kingdom that was supposed to be filled with gold, silver, and jewels. He was told that others had looked for this treasure, but no one had found it. Coronado was determined to find this land, so in 1540, he, along with hundreds of American Indian soldiers and servants and Spanish soldiers, set off to find the riches. During his travels, he claimed land for Spain in the southwestern states, including present-day New Mexico and Arizona. Coronado never found the treasures he sought, so he returned to Mexico very disappointed. So we can see here that an impact, I'd like you to think about if this is positive or negative, is that he claimed land for Spain in the southwestern states, including present-day New Mexico and Arizona. So is that a positive or a negative impact? What do you think? Let's continue reading. Juan Ponce de Leon was another Spanish explorer. He settled the island of Puerto Rico in 1508. So we can see here another new land was settled, the island of Puerto Rico. Tradition tells us that he was told about a magical spring that could turn old people young. He wanted to find this fountain of youth, but he was also motivated to explore new lands. So in 1513, he led an expedition to present-day Florida and may have become the first European to visit Florida. Other Spanish explorers came to Florida, including Hernando de Soto. He sailed to the area with 10 ships and 700 men. He also led an expedition through what is now the southeastern United States. So we can see on the map kind of where they all are. During his land travels, Coronado traveled around 2,700 miles. De Soto traveled close to 2,400 miles throughout North America. So looking at the map, we can see where Ponce de Leon traveled, where De Soto traveled, and where Coronado traveled. So thinking about this and which expedition seemed the longest and the most difficult, you can pause and think about that question. Great. So that was just some other Spanish explorations. Let's continue reading. Spain's new territory. So I'm thinking this is probably the result of some exploration. They're getting new territory. After a time of exploration, Spain was ready to settle in the Americas. So in 1535, Spain established the colony of New Spain in North America. A colony is a settlement or area far from the country that rules it. New Spain, now known as Mexico, became an important part of the Spanish Empire. Over time, New Spain would expand to include many islands in the Caribbean, as well as large parts of North America and Central America. So we can see that lots of land was conquered and by Spain and settled into colonies. Towns began to emerge throughout New Spain. In 1565, St. Augustine was founded in what is today Florida. It is the oldest town established by Europeans in the United States. Over time, Spain imposed its culture, language, religion, and way of life on Indians who had lived in the region long before the Spanish arrived. So think about that. Do you think that that is a positive or negative impact of this exploration? So in your book, highlight or note either like a positive or negative, and you could do green or red like I did if you want, impact of that exploration. The Spanish built new Spanish-style cities on top of the ruins of American Indian cities. Spanish officials moved to the colony to set up a government. Catholic priests came to teach American Indians about Christianity. They built missions in American Indian villages where they encouraged American Indians to adopt Christianity as their religion. Many American Indians were influenced to live and work on missions. Some Indians were tempted by steady food and shelter, but many were forced to work in the field. Others ran away from the missions. So go ahead and pause the video and annotate this paragraph. What happened here? What were the impacts of the Spanish exploration? Who did it positively impact and who did it negatively impact? The Spanish takeover of New Spain brought harsh changes to American Indians. The Spanish would set various Indian groups against each other in an attempt to form alliances with some of them. Then many Indians were killed battling the conquistadors. Many more died from diseases such as smallpox, brought unknowingly to the Americas by the Spaniards. American Indians had never been exposed to smallpox and other European diseases. They had no natural immunity. Epidemics occurred amongst people. An epidemic is an outbreak of disease that spreads quickly and affects many people. American Indians who survived often lost their lands and property. Many Spanish missionaries also forced American Indians to adopt European culture. To make the empire profitable, Spain closely controlled its economic activities, especially trade. Laws forbade colonists from trading with other European nations or even with other Spanish colonies. So go back and look at pages 64 and 65 and think about what happened as Spain acquired new territory. What are your thoughts on this situation? Just think about what you think about what happened. And you can go ahead and do page 65 in your social studies book. I'll read the questions to you. You can pause as you listen to me read if you'd like. What was the effect of the founding of Spanish colonies on the American Indians? Six, after Europeans arrived in the Americas, how did epidemics destroy much of the American Indian population? And 7, what was life like for American Indians in New Spain? And you do not have to do question number 8. So just try and do 5, 6, and 7. And you can listen again or always go back and read again. Thanks for listening.